What's up, everybody? Welcome back to FFT. I'm Trevor, and today we are talking about my favorite running backs in the 2023 season. Let's check it out. Okay, so I'm going to start this list off strong with a little bit of an emotional pick in Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah, you've heard me talk about him before, and I know some of you are thinking that I was going to say Bijan Robinson, because I know a lot of you are high on Bijan right now, and you have reason to. I'll take that. But I want to talk about Jahmyr Gibbs, another rookie, somebody else that's just now entering into the NFL, and I think has a ton of talent. He's got tremendous talent, and I think he has nothing but upside and potential when it comes to the 2023 season. So let's talk about him. Right now, his ADP is 37.6, so that puts him at the beginning of the fourth round. So you're not paying a first round, you're not paying a second round like you probably will be with Bijan, late first, early second in a normal half PPR, 12-team kind of redraft or keeper league. You're paying an early fourth round pick for Jahmyr Gibbs. I really think that is pretty good value when you talk about rookies and running backs with a lot of potential. This is the sort of player that can win you weeks. He has the potential to be a top 3, top 4, top 5 running back. I'm not kidding when I say that. A lot of people are going to laugh when they hear that because of what he's there to do with the Lions, with his pass catching ability and just the overall talent that he brings to this team. Nothing but the sky for this guy. Nothing but the stars. He's shooting up and he's going far. I think he has everything in the world going for him. But let's talk about some quick stats. So he's 21 years old. He's young. He's just now of drinking age. Think about that. 21 for a running back. If he ends up being as good as everyone's thinking he's going to be, he's got years to play. I mean, think about Derrick Henry. Is he 30 going into this season? If Jahmyr Gibbs is as good as Derrick Henry in producing, he's got 8 years of incredible production. You don't get that amount of time normally with a running back, but with Jahmyr Gibbs, you have that possibility is there for you. He went to Alabama, so I mean he's coming from a great he has great pedigree in the sense that he was brought up well with this team. Obviously, Alabama is known for having year after year after year talent, and they're well coached. So he's coming in not just with the skill set, but he also has the vision. He understands football. He's a smart player, and that's gonna bode well for him going into this season. In 2022, so I don't have any stats for him when it comes to the NFL because this is his rookie year. So we're just going to base this off of some college stats. But in college, in his 2022 season, he had 926 rushing yards, and he averaged 6.1 yards per carry, which is phenomenal. That's you want to see. I mean, in the NFL, anything over 4 is pretty good. So the fact that he had over 6 in college, I know it's college, but still, he's looked at as a pass catcher, but he also has running capabilities. All right, so the other stat, he has 44 receptions in that year. That's the reason that he's looked at as having such a high ceiling this year in the NFL. You get a lot of points in half PPR and full PPR leagues. Especially Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have a lot of volume when it comes to pass catching potential. So 44 receptions in the 2022 season with 444 yards. So that's, if you do the math, that's 11 yards per reception, which is also phenomenal. Okay, he was at Alabama and they used him the correct way. And I think they're going to utilize him very similarly when it comes to playing with the Lions. Normally I'd go over some points, like the actual points that he would give you in your fantasy football leagues. This is a rookie season, so I don't have anything for that right now. But we're gonna play a game, CMC comparison for each of these 3 running backs that I'm going to be talking about. Jahmyr Gibbs, how does he compare to Christian McCaffrey? Well, it's hard to compare because he's a rookie. All right, I'll give you that. You can't really compare and you can't really look at production until he's had production. So I understand that. But for all the reasons that we love Christian McCaffrey, I'm going to say we should love Jahmyr Gibbs for those same reasons. He's well-rounded. He's a tough player. he could be the highlight of his team, just like Christian McCaffrey is. With the reduced backfield, with the reduced running back room, they lost Jamal Williams, they lost DeAndre Swift. There's really no competition when it comes to the running back room. They've got Amon-Ra, who's an incredible receiver, and they've got Jared Goff, and who else? Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay, so he could be this year the highlight of the team. He really could be. So keep that in mind. The volume is going to be there. He's really not competing with anybody. And he has the potential to be the next Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey's getting a little bit older, and Saquon Barkley is getting a little bit older. They've had some injuries. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's got some of the similar sort of talent, and he might be the new hot thing. I know Bijan Robinson is everyone's favorite. Bijan Robinson still has some great pass catching abilities. He's a phenomenal runner. I would say that Bijan Robinson maybe has a little bit more talent, but he's on a worse offense, and he's being taken in the first round. So save yourself 3 rounds and give yourself a player that has just as much upside in Jahmyr Gibbs. I like kind of going wide receivers early, especially this year with the sort of wide receivers that you have available to you. So that first round is super valuable. And do you want to take it on a guy that has a ton of upside? I mean, I wouldn't be upset with you if you took Bijan, but why not take a Jamar Chase and a Jahmyr Gibbs? I think you have a ton of a ton of flexibility there, and it gives you some better options, I think, in that way. So overall, Jahmyr Gibbs, all right? This is my favorite rookie running back this year, even over Bijan, because of where he's going. And just the skill set and the ceiling, like I've been talking about, is tremendous. That potential is huge, especially being on the Lions, all right? He was drafted early, and so they are going to use him as though he is their guy. They will. I mean, obviously, we've seen the talent, and everything coming out of training camp is all hype. Everyone is stoked about this guy. All they can say is good things about Jahmyr Gibbs. And you can also believe that with the hype focused on Bijan, even over Jahmyr Gibbs, and Jahmyr Gibbs coming at a bit of a discount, he may be overlooked a little bit. He may fall further than the beginning of the 4th round. He may go into 4th round potentially, depending on what sort of leagues you're in, and I think that would be a steal. He gets to start. He's the starting running back on his team. I kind of already hit on that a little bit. And like I said, he's replacing Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. So with no competition, I think it's a no-brainer. Get yourself Jahmyr Gibbs if you fit kind of within that window that he falls to you. I think it makes a lot of sense. All right, let's talk number 2. Number 2, Alexander Mattison. Yes, the running back 1 of the Minnesota Vikings. I think he's the real deal, and I think you would be elated to have somebody like that on your roster this year. His ADP is 62, so that means he's going at the beginning of the 6th round in 12-man leagues. Okay, 6th round for the starting running back of a high-powered Vikings offense who did tremendous things last year. They no longer have Dalvin Cook. Why not? He did incredible things when Dalvin Cook wasn't playing last year, when he didn't start. So what is there to say that he won't do the same sort of thing this year too? He's 25 years old, still young, going into his 5th year in the NFL. So he's been behind Dalvin Cook. He's been learning. He's been growing. He's been expanding his kind of arsenal and tool set that's available to him. I think it's going to shine, and he's going to be able to show those things off this year. Some quick stats about this guy, all right? So he averages 4.1 yards if we look back at last season alone. So I think that's a little bit lower than Dalvin Cook. Obviously, Dalvin Cook was a tremendous talent, but that's kind of a smaller sample size than we have for Dalvin Cook too. So with Dalvin Cook gone and him replacing as the RB1, I think we'll see that number go up as he gets more reps and gets kind of, if you played sports, you understand what it means to have that consistency. If you're jumping in every now and then, it's hard to remain fresh and hard to remain consistent. In the last 2 years, he's averaging about 25 receptions per season, which is great. I mean, that's how a lot of running backs get easy points in the league. So 25 receptions isn't bad. It could be better, but honestly, it's not bad. And the other thing to note is now with Dalvin Cook gone, those targets that Dalvin was getting are now going to be going to Alexander Mattison. So keep that in mind. Again, this is a sort of situation like Jahmyr Gibbs where that running back room isn't huge. So he has the potential to gain those sort of receptions that were lost. Obviously, they're adding Jordan Addison as another pass catcher, but I really think that Alexander Mattison is going to at least get a piece of that pie there. Okay, let's see. So points for your fantasy league. How does this actually translate into fantasy football? Well, he's replacing Dalvin Cook, like I said. So all those receptions are going his way, and he's not competing anymore. He's going to get more touches on a per game basis, which is what all you're looking for. You're looking for volume when it comes down to running backs. You're looking for volume, and you're looking for ways to get touches in the backfield. Since 2020, in the games he's played, in over 40% of the snaps, he's scored 20 points or more fantasy-wise. All right, so if he's in the games that he's participated in 40% of the snaps or more, he's had 20 fantasy points per game. All right, that's all. But so if you exclude one game, so there's only one game that he didn't, but he still got 15 points in that game. All right, so still phenomenal upside in those games that he's getting the volume. Also, he averages 5 receptions in each of those games too. So if you get if we talk about the volume of just running, attacking on those 5 receptions, again, that's what you're looking for. These are easy points in a full PPR league. 5 receptions per game, that's 5 points just for catching the ball. All right, so what's our CMC comparison? How does he line up to Christian McCaffrey? Well, he's not CMC, okay? He's not going to shake the world. This isn't groundbreaking when it comes to Alexander Mattison. He is not the hotness of Bijan Robinson or, in my mind, Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay, he's not gonna turn everything on its head and shake everything up. He is what he is. We all know that he's talented, but he's not got the full potential that Christian McCaffrey does for obvious reasons. But he's the RB1 on the Vikings, and he can, if you can get him in the 6th round, you don't need him to be a CMC. Okay, so keep that in mind. He doesn't get as many targets as CMC, so that's a downside. But I still said he's averaging 5 for the games that he has over 40% snap percentage. Okay, so that's not bad. And his average yards per carry is a little lower than CMC as well by just half a yard. Okay, so Christian McCaffrey averages about 4.6, and Alexander Mattison 4.1. So honestly not too bad. And he could potentially get as many rushing attempts as Christian McCaffrey this year. So that is the one thing that is comparable to Christian McCaffrey in my mind, is the volume when it comes to rushing attempts. Not passing attempts, but rushing attempts. I think because of the running back room that I described, he's going to be their go-to guy. He's going to be their first down, second down, and maybe even third down back. It's yet to be determined if he's the third down guy or not, but we'll see. So overall, when it comes to Alexander Mattison, he's honestly kind of a low risk and high ceiling player for your fantasy football league because he's going in the 6th round. You're not spending an arm and a leg to get him, but you are getting somebody that is going to be consistent. Pending injury or something crazy happening, he is going to be the guy that is getting volume. All right, he's on a great offense with an empty running back room, and if I'm going RB, like a 0 RB strat, this is a guy I'm focusing. This is a guy I'm looking for in that 6th round. Because typically with a 0 RB strat, you're ignoring the running back position for the first 5 or 6 rounds, and you're looking for somebody near the end of that 6th round or 7th round. Alexander Mattison kind of falls perfectly into that slot. Okay, so Alexander Mattison may be worth considering in your 2023 season. All right, let's talk about the third and final guy on this lineup, and it is none other than Aaron Jones. Okay, I know he's not the exciting new bling of the 2023 fantasy season, but he's done it year after year after year. Okay, he's somebody that's reliable. He's somebody that's consistent on a year-to-year basis, and he is going to hit. And when he hits hard. Okay, his ADP is 40.6. So he's going about middle of the 4th round. So you are spending up a little bit compared to like Alexander Mattison. But I think it could be worth it, especially in best ball leagues. When this guy pops off, he pops off. He is 28 years old, okay? So something to consider if you're in a dynasty league. He's got to have like 1 or 2 years left before he starts falling off a little bit of a cliff. So something to consider for dynasty leagues. Maybe he doesn't have as much value as he does in like a redraft or a keeper league. So something to consider. He is going into his 7th year in the NFL. Not that that's necessarily a negative thing. Experience is good, and he's honestly continued to be trending positively. I don't know how you do that over that many years, but he does. And so let's talk about some quick stats when it comes to Aaron Jones. He's getting better as he gets older, like I just described. Okay, he averages 5.1 yards per carry, and that's taking into account this last year when he had a lot of fluctuation. Like I said, he's consistent from year to year, but throughout the year he has some huge games and he has some kind of lower games, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But his receptions are going up every year as well. He had 59 receptions last year alone. I think the year before that it was like 51, and the year before that it was like 40 something. His reception pace is continuing to go up, and something to consider with Jordan Love as the new quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. He might be checking down a lot more. He may find himself in a position where he's a little bit less confident, and so he's doing some quick checkdowns to Aaron Jones, and so he could potentially see more volume in the passing game than he did even previously with Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, it's yet to be determined if those targets are as valuable, like if those passes are going to be as good as the ones from Aaron Rodgers. But the volume alone probably means an uptick in the PPR kind of world, at least. So let's talk about some points. How does Aaron Jones actually affect your fantasy roster? Well, he can be hit or miss. All right, this is something that I was kind of alluding to. He's consistent from year to year, but within the year itself, it from week to week, it depends just based off of prior experience if he's going to hit hard or kind of be a mediocre play for the week. The games he hits and that he hits big, he's getting you 30, 24, 22, 38 points per game in half PPR leagues. So those are huge numbers. Those are like Derrick Henry level numbers. All right, something to consider when it comes to Aaron Jones, especially in best ball leagues when you're just looking for somebody to just pop off every now and then and get you a tremendous amount of points from week to week. Aaron Jones is worth considering, especially in those leagues, because of those huge weeks that he can have. He can also, though, give you 6-point weeks, 5-point weeks, 9-point weeks, 5-point weeks, 7-point weeks. So he does when he's not hitting those high days or those high weeks. That's kind of where he's bottoming out. So I mean, it's kind of you're looking at like RB2 numbers in that sense on those weeks that he's not hitting big. He is the 10th overall running back last year in half PPR leagues. So because of those crazy high weeks, it brings his average it meets that average a little bit higher than other running backs. And so he ended at the 10th spot. But again, because of the fluctuation, you may be looking for more consistency, something to consider with Aaron Jones. But there's nothing telling me that won't happen again this year. There's nothing saying that he won't have those tremendous weeks at the Green Bay Packers again. So with all that said, he's averaging about 13 points per game. So something to consider. So Christian McCaffrey, what's the comparison with Christian McCaffrey? Well, Aaron Jones relies heavily on passing targets and touchdowns, where CMC doesn't necessarily rely on that. CMC gets the volume. He's just a great running back. He's, like I said, he's well-rounded. Aaron Jones really has to get touchdowns and receptions in order to have those high upside weeks. So that's what you're looking for with Aaron Jones. Because A.J. Dillon is effective on that roster as well, it also steals snaps from Aaron Jones and also a little bit of that goal line work. So he does have a little bit more competition at the Packers, something to consider. Christian McCaffrey isn't sharing a backfield, really, with the exception of like the occasional Deebo Samuel rush or sweep or something like that. Elijah Mitchell doesn't really scare me, so I don't really consider CMC having any sort of competition when it comes to the backfield like Aaron Jones does. So, something to just be thinking about. Aaron Jones does have a little bit of competition. If he gets hurt, A.J. Dillon stepping into that role, so maybe a handcuff worth having. But Aaron Jones does have a similar skill set compared to CMC. So he's not as much of a powerhouse rusher. He does have some finesse, but he is more of that pass catcher type back. Overall, all right, let's jump into it. What are my overall thoughts on Aaron Jones? Well, He continues to show up year to year, even though he's getting older. There's nothing that's deterring me from picking him up in a redraft league or a keeper league. Definitely somebody worth considering. I think just like Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones has at least 1 year, if not 2 years left of relevancy. Relevancy in the NFL left. Okay. Age is something to consider for dynasty leagues, though, so keep that in mind. And with Jordan Love in the backfield, some things are in flux, but I think that's actually a good thing for Aaron Jones rather than a negative thing because of those checkdowns like I was talking about. He may get some more quick passes from Jordan Love this season. Okay, that's it. Those are my top 3, all right? I do have one honorable mention for you guys, though, and his name is Javonte Williams, all right? Javonte Williams, everyone's passing on him because of his injury and the uncertainty of it. I totally get it. I understand, especially in single, redraft keeper leagues, those single-year leagues, that may be a bit of a deterrent. I understand that. If you want to pass. But everything coming out of training camp is showing that, or saying at least, that he is gearing up and getting ready to go here, potentially for the first game of the season, which would be crazy, unheard of, and something to take with a grain of salt because just because he's back, is he at full strength? Who knows? Yet we don't know. But if you have depth at running back, and you can spend a little bit of a riskier pick on Javonte Williams, he's potentially worth doing, all right? Especially in dynasty leagues, all right? He can be a game changer, especially later in the year, at least later in this year, definitely in years to come. And he's still only 23 years old, guys. He's really pretty young still. He's only been in the NFL for a couple of years. If you remember back to 2021, he did have some incredible games. He showed Barkley and CMC level talent. He was the RB hotness of 2021, just like Bijan and Jameer are this year. He hasn't lost a step other than getting hurt. All right, so if he's back and he's at full strength, I don't know, something magical could happen there. So anyway, I appreciate you guys checking out this video. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Do you disagree with any of my rankings? Did I miss somebody? Do you like the 3 people that I have? Are you drafting them? I'd love to hear from you guys. But otherwise, stay tuned for wide receiver top 3 video coming and tight end top 3 video coming within the next week. But until then, I'll catch you next time. See you guys.